feel like I had to get this degree. And in order to be someone that can change things in society, people wouldn't listen to me if I wasn't Dr. Shamel Bell.
One was praising Asian women as if they're so much more superior.
Is all of my debt. I am 24 years old.
No matter what the field is, Black women are being underpaid.
I was being paid about $10,000 less than my colleagues. I look at their education, and I found out I was the only person working there with an MBA.
The company's hiring. Why are you offering $50,000 a year?
Get what you consider to be marketable degrees?
They're marketable in theory, but not in practice.
You worked hard and you spent this money responsibly.
Absolutely.
But you did have to have the money or you wouldn't get the degree.
Absolutely.
And you didn't have to get the degree, but you wanted the degree. And so you chose to take on the debt to get the degree.
And that's interesting that you say you don't have to get a degree. For someone like myself to get an equal playing field, a Black woman, there's wage disparities. There's, when we understand that women get paid less, I have to get a higher education degree for a job that someone that doesn't look like me can just walk in and may be able to get. So I feel like I had to get this degree. And in order to be someone that can change things in society, people wouldn't listen to me if I wasn't Dr. Shamel Bell. If I came up here and just told you I was from South Central Los Angeles and you need to give me free education, you might be like, okay, yes, free education. But if I can tell you, I did not just get a dance degree, I have that too, because art and dance saved my life. But I have an American history degree, so I understand historical context and legacy.
Did you get what you consider to be marketable degrees?
They're marketable in theory, but not in practice, because housing and everything is so expensive.
They're marketable in theory, but not in practice. Those degrees didn't make you $1. How about you call it for what it is, right? And Dr. Phil is sitting there interviewing you. I know he has to do that for television, but he's flabbergasted right now, like the nerve. But guys, there's more.
For the company's hiring that require people to have 4-year bachelor's degrees. Why are you offering $50,000 a year? Wait, 45 if you have a bachelor's and 50 if you have a master's. So you're telling me I took out all of these loans for school to then work a job that won't allow me to pay these loans off that I took out to try to get this job? I'm just trying to understand that. Do you expect people to live off of $45,000 or $50,000 a year? I'm just really curious because I'm trying to understand how that works.
You know the funny thing, I was looking at today. I looked at a video about minimalists, and it showed a guy that makes $90,000 compared to a guy that makes $50,000. Right? And the way I'm living right now, I'm living like a minimalist. You wouldn't think so because I'm going to be doing grandiose things, right? But that's why I moved to the Philippines, to be a minimalist. A lot of people they think being a passport bro, well, I'm not a passport bro, I'm an expat. They think being or doing what I do, well, actually, I got to shut up about that because I didn't do it all about women. I do it all because of women or getting a lady. Of course, I came here to be with my lady, but I also came here to take advantage of the opportunities that are here. And I remember when I told you guys, I said this like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I'm going to the province to do this, this, and that. This is one of my homes, guys. This is a home I just secured in the province. It's like around $288 a month. I have my other home 2 blocks from this one. That's $150 a month. But what guys are doing, that guy that makes 50 over the guy that makes 90, is the guy that makes 50 is investing his money, doing all kinds of things like you should be doing, working on paying off that college debt. And the guy that makes 90 is just blowing his bag. You are like the guy that makes 90, only making 50. That's hard.
pregnant, she went to get a waitressing job on the weekends because her corporate 9 to 5 is not covering her bills. Our generation went to high school, went to college with the promise that if you go to school and you do your time, you'll get out, you'll get a great day, you'll be able to have your own home, have your own family, and be financially stable, right? We were essentially sold a scheme that is no longer working. We're all out here in college loan debt with jobs that are not covering all of our bills, so we're getting second jobs on the weekends. The weekends when we're supposed to be relaxing, unwinding from our corporate job, but nope, time to go to your second job. Like, it's infuriating because we're just not even enjoying life. We can't even enjoy life. A lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs, not because they're even passionate about it, but because they know that they can get contract work and just work 24/7 so that they can provide. And now a lot of us are sitting in our apartment on a Saturday night because we don't have the disposable income to go out. It's a sad reality, but it's a real reality.
Less than their colleagues. And I remember exactly when I found out exactly how much less I was being paid than those I was working with. The company had announced layoffs, and so therefore I had began my search to look for a new job and had secured one. So I turned in my 2 weeks notice. Whenever you do that, most companies do not want you to leave, so they set up a call with me, HR, my director, and my senior director. Now, this is the way they tried to get me to not leave that company when I had already turned in my 2 weeks notice. They would go on to say that I was being paid about $10,000 less than my colleagues. Now, I found this particularly interesting because one of the things I do is I will add people after we have an encounter at work on LinkedIn. So, of course, I look at their education. And I found out I was the only person working there with an MBA, Master's in Business Administration. If I'm being paid $10,000 less, but I'm the only one with a master's degree, that means I am indeed overqualified for the job I'm working. So imagine for the last year and some change, I've been working here getting paid $10,000 less, but I have more education and more experience than my colleagues. Flummoxed. Now, this is not a unique experience. Black women are typically paid 63 cents on the dollar to $1 for a white man. But what I was surprised is not these people admitting it to me, knowing that I was overqualified for the position. To get that type of data directly from somebody's mouth was unheard of. Now, all I did was use that information when I was negotiating for my next role to ensure that I was starting off what other people were getting paid. But I want to know from you. I want to hear from other Black women. At what point did you realize that you were getting paid less than your colleagues? Or did you ever find out?
Well, you know, I'm sure it's like that for even Black men as well. That's why I couldn't put my trust in corporate America. I had to put it on what I'm doing for myself, right? Because corporate America, it won't have your back. Actually, corporate America is to get from you. Corporate America is to put you in more debt, right? It's to make you a tax slave. That's the problem with corporate America. And I knew that. I knew that wasn't the right way to go. The fact that you're getting 10,000 less, you're surprised about it. I'm not surprised at all. Right? When I was working, I know people were making a lot more than me, but I held my head down and kept grinding. That's why I hear people complaining, I have to get a second, third job. I took pride in getting a second and third job, but I made sure it was what I wanted to do outside of work to provide some real income for myself, not working for someone else. Yes, every time I had a job, I always had another business. Not because I want to make the extra money, but because I want to get away from working, from being a slave. And what's happening, we've came to the point in history where, and they say it, when you see Black women not able to get jobs, right? And you see, then after that, you're going to see the same thing happen to everyone. Look right now, after a Black lady, 200,000 Black women couldn't get jobs. Now everybody's starting to lose their jobs. I guess it was right.
I feel like I need to address it. Let's start with, no matter what the field is, Black women are being underpaid. That's it. That's the issue. And again, to be clear, other factors that contribute to the wage gap: hiring discrimination, toxic work environment, lack of corporate connection because of racism, racism, sexism, lowballed offers, and lack of negotiating. Don't be a person complaining that Black women are getting degrees in psychology or social work, but then in the same breath say that we need Black women who are therapists. How else will they become therapists? But because I'm a girl about numbers, I want to show you some more numbers. What I'm about to show you is the comparison of women to the white man's dollar by education. So let's get into it. Less than a high school diploma. Again, everyone's kind of at the same, like, low 80%, high 70%. And to understand this, this means for every $1 that a white man gets, women get whatever, about 80 cents on the $1 that the white man gets. So every time Tom gets $1, we're getting between 80 and like 78 cents. Once women get a high school diploma, everybody gets lower, even white women. So now everyone's around mid 70s, mid to low 70s. Again, we started at high to low 80s. But then let's look at this. Some college, Black women go down. That's crazy, isn't it? Asian women increase and they're on par with white women. And Hispanic women stay about the same. When women get a bachelor's degree, Asian women make almost the same amount as a white man. They're the only ones that are getting paid basically a close to fair wage. White women stay at about the same range. Black women stay at the same range whether they have a college degree or they don't have a college degree. So again, it's not because of the degree. Hispanic women, again, stay around the same. When we get advanced degrees, because everyone was praising Asian women as if they're so much more superior about where they choose or the degrees that they choose, when they get an advanced degree, they also go down. They make about 90 cents for every $1 a white man makes, and then go around to an 85% or 80 cents for every $1 a white man makes. Black women, whether they have a bachelor's or a master's degree, make the same amount of money to every white man dollar. And white women, the same case. Hispanic women go up just a little bit when they get an advanced degree. Stop blaming Black women for racism and the wage gap.
We're going to be most impacted by this change with student loans, because I'm seeing a lot of people say that this Trump administration needs to read the room. And if you ask me, they already did. It is not lost on me that Black women are currently in America, in this country, the most educated group. And for a lot of Black families, a lot of Black millennials, we were promised, if you go to school, if you go and get a degree and pursue this education as a way out, and in conclusion, you will get XYZ. And while none of that for some people has happened and the economy has only gotten worse, we are now going to ultimately have to make really, really important and crucial financial decisions to ultimately avoid our wages being garnished. And another layer I'm not really seeing enough people talk about is this is how homelessness starts, right? We already are experiencing, at least something that I've seen in my inner circle, families and people individually that are struggling. I do not know anyone in my life that is not trying to save money and simply take it easy right now. But this is how homelessness happens whenever people quite literally cannot afford their rent, cannot afford XYZ, and you want to try to garnish their wages simply because they're not paying student loans, simply because they're not getting paid enough.
Date single moms, the way that women say I don't date broke men, would that be seen as preference or prejudice?
It will be seen as prejudice by some women, I imagine, but preference by men. But the answer is it's preference.
I feel like just because a woman has a baby, that doesn't mean it's the end for them. Like, if it didn't work out with their baby daddy, they still have a chance to find their person. Men take on women with babies. Like, I'm like, that's amazing.
I think it would be seen as prejudice. Although I think it's fair. I think if you don't want to date someone who has a baby, whether you're a woman or a man, I think that should be your choice, and I think it's completely fair.
Why is it not seen as prejudice when women don't want to date broke men?
Because you don't want anyone to be leeching off of you. I think men and women should be completely equal as far as like how much they work and bring to the table, but the truth is like women do carry children, and if they have to be out of work for a while, then the men should be able to make up for that. So I would not date someone who's broke.
In other news, so student loans are about to start back up. They're about to start making people repay their student loans. Eggs are $5 or $6. People are losing their jobs. People are having a hard time getting jobs coming out of college. And they thought, yeah, this is the perfect time to start back those student loans. Forget the recession that's about to hit us, that we all could see coming. I don't think we understand how bad we effed up on November 5th.
Talk about this number right here. This is how much debt I have. I'm about $180,000 in debt from both federal and private student loans, my car loan, credit cards. That is all of my debt. I am 24 years old. I have a bachelor degree, so not even a master's. I have one minor, no focus in my major, as well as an honors degree, which did require some extra credits. So that is where this number is coming from. This is on top of the little amount of scholarships that I was awarded, so money I didn't have to pay back. This is everything I owe. Everything I owe. I came out of college in June of 2024, and I did not look at the debt that I was accruing. I took out loans as I needed them each year for college, and I didn't really think about what the percentages meant because I was never taught financial literacy. I didn't think about what the realistic number was going to be that I would have to owe each month on these loans, and they are astronomical, I will say. Sallie Mae, which is my private loan creditor, wants $1,800 a month from me. That's just Sallie Mae. I am right now in a grace period for 12 months where I only have to pay $1,033 to Sallie Mae. I would not be able to afford the $1,800 a month if I wasn't able to get it down for 12 months. I don't know what I'm going to do in 11 months, but this is just me talking about it. On top of that, I owe about $287 to the federal government per month. That's not changing. And I owe $202 for my car payment, and that's not even including the $150 or $60 that I owe each month for the car insurance, or include any of that. So alone, Sallie Mae wants $1,800 from me. I graduated college, as I just mentioned, in June of 2024, so this last year, and I wanted to just have a nice summer because I have been doing school for the last 5 years, and I've been taking summer courses full-time every year, and as well as working full-time. So this is also like the debt I have, and I was working full-time during the summers, and I was working part-time during the school years. So that's all, like, I still had no money, like, and I had to take out loans. So, being 23 years old, almost 24 when I graduated, I decided that I was just going to get a part-time job so that way I could only work part-time during the summer and kind of enjoy the summer because I had been doing over full-time in schools and working and had a role in my sorority, and I decided that I was just going to work part-time. And if I had looked at my loans fresh out of college, which I highly recommend you do if you have loans, do not wait until they are due to start looking at them. I decided to do that and made barely any money, but I didn't have any loan payments at the time during the summer. And I wish that I had started making the payments as soon as possible on those loans while I had them. So I worked part-time. Around November, my best friend was like, hey, I have loans. You have loans. Have you looked at what your loan payments are going to be? And I was like, shh, can't be that bad, right? Wrong. I looked at my loan payments and I cried. Because I was not taught financial literacy. And I didn't understand.
No excuses. I repeat, no excuses.
How a credit company for student loans could charge me $1,800 if I wasn't making that much. I thought, okay, there must be something similar to the federal aid where you can do it based on income. No, they don't offer that. So I would also look into that before you take out student loans if they're going to offer income based or anything. They don't offer that. The best I could do was bring it down to $1,000. And then I was struggling to find a full-time job. I applied for like 3 months to over probably 500 jobs before I finally found one. This is the catch, that doesn't even require my degree. I found a job that paid $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, and it was degree recommended, not required. So I felt very grateful for that opportunity. I just don't understand why companies and jobs want you to have stepping stones but don't consider your degree to be the stepping stones or the foundation for working for those companies. And they want to pay less money for more years of experience. It doesn't make sense. It's really hard to find a job right now, like really, really hard. Anyway, flash forward, I'm doing this and I'm able to make my bare minimum payments, but that doesn't matter because in 12 months, I'm still going to owe $1,800 bare minimum on the Sallie Mae loans, and I cannot afford that. And I make $41,600 a year before taxes. Now, flash forward, I'm at this job for a couple months and I start to struggle really badly with my mental health. I'm talking like can't get out of bed except to go to work, really struggling, losing passion for everything, falling into a mix of, I would say, seasonal depression because it's winter and I struggle with that a lot, and also depression because my life is not
You know what she said? Winter is here.
going the way that I want it to go. And that is a hard thing to grasp. And also debt is really hard. It's a hard thing, and like a lot of people struggle with it, so it's not just me coming on here. Like I'm very grateful and I am privileged, and there's a lot of things that are going well in my life, but like that debt is still looming over my head, and that is a real thing. I decided that this job was not worth staying at any longer because of how much it was impacting my mental health. I was crashing out all the time and I really tried to stick it out, but I was just really starting to see no purpose in my life, even though it was helping me make those bare minimum payments. I have since put in my 2 weeks and I'm going back.
Wait a minute. That was the only way that you were going to pay off your debt.
Back to 2 part-time jobs that I've calculated out will make the same amount of money I make at this full-time job that I supposedly got with my degree. So I'm still going to make $41,600 and be able to make my bare minimum payments. But I am really worried about what I'm going to do in 11 months when I have to owe $1,800 just on Sallie Mae. I am putting this out there as like kind of a way to warn people about looking into what your loans look like. Teach yourself financial literacy, but I'm also putting this out there to ask what's the best case scenario? I don't really know what to do, and I've been trying to do research. I don't want to get sued by Sallie Mae. It's hard to find a job. I don't really want people coming out here being like, well, just go find a higher paying job. You were silly to drop down to 2 part-time jobs. That is not the advice I'm looking for. I'm looking for a best way to knock out my loans and start paying them off faster. 1 payments and a little bit more. And that's basically all of my income. And I'm looking for other ways to make extra money. So if I have to start door dashing as well, I'm going to go back to a job where I'll also be making tips. All of that's going to go towards it. What is the best way? Should I attack the ones that are high interest first? Should I go?
Okay, so I'm not going to call anyone in particular out, but I have noticed something about this page. Some of y'all get triggered when I mention the fact that student loans are actually a racial and gender-based issue. And before people start arguing with me, a simple Google search will show you why Black women are disproportionately impacted by student loan debt. But I would say this is one of my favorite articles from The Nation. And I'm going to read you a quote. Women of all races carry 2/3 of the $1.7 trillion in outstanding student loan debt. But Black women carry more per capita, carry it for longer, make less money, and have less help when trying to pay back their debts. It's a bleak picture. Essentially, Black women are punished for daring to try to improve their prospects with education and credentials. One of my favorite metaphors that's made in this article is the idea that if white people have a cold in this country, then Black people have pneumonia and Black women have the bubonic plague. It's vastly important to center the most disproportionately affected people in any problem you're trying to solve.
Strong, independent woman at all.
I just got back from a job interview where I had to turn down the job offer ultimately because of the wage and the lack of benefits. So this job was a position at a multi-billion with a B billion-dollar immunological research like pharmaceutical company. And it would be on the research and development team, the R&D team. They were looking for someone with a master's degree and 2 to 4 years experience in the field, or someone with a bachelor's degree and 8 to 10 years of experience in the related field, which is where I am. So it was going great, and they ultimately did end up offering me the position about halfway through the interview, and I was like, that's great, I do have some more questions though. And they're like, okay, cool, ask away. And I was asking about like the wages and like the benefits and like this stuff, and their faces went white, and I was like, great. Hit me with it. What is it? It's $18 an hour. $18 an hour, full time, So that comes out to salary for people thinking salary rise. That's about $37,000 a year, $37,000 to $38,000 a year ish. No PTO, none, zero PTO. So it's only the hours you work, even though it is a full-time position. And on top of that, there is no sick leave. It doesn't have mandated sick time, so there is no sick time. There is nothing. No PTO, no nothing. Hours worked is hours paid. That's fine. I get it. Jobs are like that. But this is a full-time job at a multi-billion-dollar company. And so my next question was like, okay, cool, whatever. Next question is health insurance. What are the benefits there? If you guys don't have PTO, hopefully you guys got health insurance. They said, we don't have health insurance. I said, amazing. Not like that. But of course I was like, okay, so you don't have health insurance. Do you have dental or eye? They said, no, we don't have any of those. And so at that point I was like, okay, I appreciate your time and it was a great opportunity to interview here, but I cannot afford to live on $18 an hour where I have to pay for my own health insurance and benefits. So yeah,